Welcome back to Pattrn, your home for the latest news in climate change and sustainability. I'm Paul Goodlow.
And I'm Steph Abrams. It's time for today's Hot Topics. Minnesota Zoo has been busier than ever after turning an abandoned railway into a public walking trail. And here's the kicker. It is beautiful too. The path sits more than 30 feet above ground. That's lovely. It gets even better than that. The treetop trail is more than a mile long and gives visitors an aerial view of animals like the tigers, the bison, and more at the zoo. It's located in the suburbs of Minneapolis, and since its opening, the trail has brought on record-breaking attendance numbers, setting an all-time high of 1.5 million visitors for the fiscal year. The trail has been so successful, the zoo created a cheaper membership for people who want to walk the trail in the mornings.
When I first saw the video, I'm thinking, okay, it looks like Jurassic Park. Everything's so green, you're up above it. I'm waiting for T-Rex to come through. But it's a great way to be up above the animals instead of behind glass.
The glass and kind of maybe give you a more natural feel. They also have in New York, they have the High Line, which was an old, railway that they've changed into an area where people run and walk and do that sort of stuff. I was thinking in the winter, are they going to keep it open in Minneapolis? They might. You've covered storms, I'm sure, up there, too. They're hardy out there. In the middle of a snowstorm, you got people running, in the street.
Oh, it's not that warm.
Right. That's not that cold, right? I'm fine. I'm running or whatever.
5 below.
But being elevated like that is a difference, right? If you're 30 feet up, the winds are going to be a lot stronger. It could be a lot more slippery up there. How do you maintain it in the winter?
And also, how do you get people from not being people, as in terms of, let me throw something down there. And
I hope people don't do that.
Some people.
Maybe they put something over it.
Some people are not the best people.
Some people.
All right. Hey, you know what? The new upcycled accessory on the market that's got "I'm a frequent flyer" written all over it. Check this out. An employee from United Airlines has come up with a way to turn expired life vests, the ones that are usually under your seat, into everything from backpacks to keychains. You can see some of the items right here on your screen.
Oh my gosh, a glove. Look at that, a mitten.
Most are actually still dotting all their original emergency instructions. Now, these plastic life vests, they expire every 8 to 10 years, and every year, airlines toss more than 19,000 of them right into the landfill.
I love that, too. It has the buckle on and everything. This is one of those things of like, why didn't I think of this? I had no idea. I never even thought these expire of the million times we've been on airplanes.
Again, you want one that works, so they have to keep refreshing them, but then what do you do with the old ones? So this is outside the box. Granted, they're pricey, but it's better than paying the price of just filling up the landfill.
But it's a conversation starter. If you have a backpack, I had a fanny pack that was made from an old billboard. And so it's always just something like cool to talk about and show people. And I hope that a lot of people buy them. I would.
No, we always put stuff in the recycling bins, but now we see something from a recycled bin that you can actually wear and use.
Listen, the holiday seasons are coming up. You could add this as a gift-giving item for those coming up. All right, have you ever been to Lollapalooza?
I was across the street from that. We'll talk about that after this story.
Okay, I'll tell you the story first. You've heard of Lollapalooza. A lot of people have. If you haven't, it's this massive festival that draws a mind-boggling crowd. And what's even crazier is that every main stage at this year's event was run completely on batteries. This includes all of the lighting, speakers, and stage production equipment. Large-scale festivals are traditionally run on diesel generators, but Lollapalooza is the first one to run entirely on a hybrid battery. This year's festival drew upwards of 500,000 attendees. I think it's always in Chicago now, right? When we were kids, I felt like it traveled around.
All I know is I was at a convention across the street, and every night between, say, 10 and midnight, there was a nonstop stream of people on the streets. Now, before that, you heard the bump, 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 but just people flooding out of here. Until I saw the aerial photos on the story, I'm like, that's why. Literally 500,000 or more people. And
that's a no for me.
You heard the music, but also you smelled the food. You didn't smell the diesel generators.
The people, are you a big festival guy?
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
If I had some good seats up front, I'd just kind of park there or have someone park there, and I'd come, through the crowd. But it was literally a nonstop stream of people for blocks, like 4 or 5 blocks deep from the park of every night, people just streaming out.
That's for the young kids, I think. This year it's Blink-182, The Killers, Megan Thee Stallion is there, Tyler, the Creator. Lots of really good bands will be there.
People were coming out with big smiles on their face. It was a good time by all. Recycling can be beneficial in more ways than one. The nonprofit organization Danielle Cares for Chairs takes something as small as a bread tag, you tie up the loaf of bread with, and then recycles them to make a huge difference for people in need of wheelchairs.
Joining us today is founder Danielle Rothschild. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this. I'm so curious about what inspired you to start Cares for Chairs organization.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So, Danielle Cares for Chairs actually started when I was a teenager in high school. I was part of an organization where I used to make dresses out of recyclable products. And my junior year of high school, I made a dress out of bread tags. And when I was done, I had about 40,000 bread tags left over. So didn't know what to do with them. And I found an 80-year-old in South Africa who took the bread tags, brought them to a recycling plant, and used the money to buy wheelchairs. So I was 16, almost 17 at the time, and I thought, well, if an 80-year-old could do it, so could a 16-year-old. So I started it, and I've been doing it almost eight years now.
Oh, I am so impressed, even just going back to making a dress out of bread tags and what it's evolved to.
So Danielle, I mean, what's the collection process like? Because people just kind of collect them and give them to you. I have a hard time even holding on to them because they break so easily.
Definitely. So when I first started, I used to go to business after business and spread the message anywhere I could. And as years progressed, especially after COVID, I changed my strategy to more of a social media platform because it was hard for me to go to the businesses during the COVID. And I have had a really good outreach. And I have been very lucky to have gotten over 9 million bread tags collected so far, which has been absolutely amazing. My little joke is I like to call myself a bread tag millionaire. And I've currently given out 15 mobility products. So it's been amazing how people have heard of me. I always said I was just one girl from Indianapolis, and I have been very humbled and grateful to been able to kind of really be able to spread my platform.
What a story. I want to go back, though, to the dress before we talk more about the wheelchairs. But why did you choose bread tags in the first place?
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story. I was actually eating at Five Guys because they had such good cheeseburgers. And I saw a worker throw away a bread tag. And at the time, I was trying to find my next idea for a dress, and it just kind of sparked an idea. And I haven't really heard anybody doing anything with bread tags, so I made a whole flapper dress out of bread tags. And that's kind of what led into Danielle Cares for Chairs.
Well, with the bread tags, I mean, to put them into wheelchairs and make mobility products, are they kind of melted down? Are they kind of pressed into it? Are they actually, you can still see it's a bread tag, or is it a certain type of plastic that you're after?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. So I currently have many different partners. So one of my partners is called PRI. They're in Indianapolis, Plastic Recycling Inc. They actually take the bread tags, and I always bring them into mass quantities. And they melt down the bread tags actually into little pellets. And those pellets are used into things such as your curry coffee pods, your tape dispensers. Then I have some other partners as well. One of mine takes the bread tags and actually makes beautiful designs out of them. It's called Marbled Plastics. It's amazing. They take bread tags and use them to make artwork for your counter glass pads and your lampshades. So it's been really cool to see kind of what they've done. And then each of them, they give me money, and that money is what I use to get the mobility products.
What are your plans for the future? I know you have another creative idea right around the corner.
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, I have been very lucky to have Danielle Cares for Chairs. It's been very self-running, which has been phenomenal. It's been awesome kind of to hear how people hear me. And I always try to spread the message. And pretty soon, I think I'm going to try to make more dresses to get more Danielle Cares for Chairs name out there. I really just try to focus on how one tiny item can make a huge difference. So been doing that. And then on the side, I also, I have a full-time job as well.
Well, you're an impressive woman, Danielle Rothschild, founder of Danielle Cares for Chairs. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me. And every bread tag counts, so keep cherishing your bed tags.
I love her.
And you wouldn't think something as small as that you usually toss
Could
away
be
could be
so-
recycled.
yes.
But again, it's made of plastic, and it's not, you can always find something else to do with that.
That's why I love this show. It's so inspiring, and there's so many good things that are happening out there.